So the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is finally here, and you're probably wondering what's new, what's changed, what's different from Breath of the Wild, and also what's the same. Well, I got your everything you need to know video right here, at least as much as I could possibly think of. I wrote as much down as possible. Now, no major story spoilers, not really any story spoilers whatsoever in this video, but obviously we're going to be going into some mild stuff in terms of exploration. So if you don't want any kind of exploration stuff, then obviously click off this video. I will be very briefly touching on dungeons, but I'm not going to go into any kind of details, just going to quickly kind of explain what they are compared to the divine beasts in Breath of the Wild, but again, nothing story related. So if you're still here, if you're ready to proceed, let's go ahead and jump straight into this. First things first, the obvious. The new Zonai abilities are replacing the Sheikah abilities. Let me go through them real quick for you guys. You have Ultra Hand, which can be used to move stuff around. You can actually also use Ultra Hand to stick items together to create makeshift objects. So this could be something like, you know, if you find some Zonai fans kicking around and you stick them to a piece of wood and you stick that piece of wood in the river, then you can use that as kind of a powered raft, just for example. Fuse is a new Zonai ability, which can be used to create new weaponry as well as attach items to arrows, for example. So you can attach an eyeball to your arrow, which acts as kind of like a tracking, homing kind of missile, just for example. Or you can craft, you know, fire arrows with fire fruit and a bunch of different things like that. And as well as if you take a stick and you stick a boulder to it, then you've got a makeshift hammer, just for a couple examples. The possibilities are endless. You have recall, which reverses time on an object, meaning if it fell from the sky and you use recall on it, it'll go back up. So if you use recall and jump straight onto it right away, it's going to bring you up into the sky, which can be very, very useful. Ascend means almost anywhere that has a roof that's low enough. If the roof is way high, it's not going to work, but if it's low enough, almost anywhere, you can go through it to the floor above. So if you're in kind of like a cave or cavern and you use Ascend, it'll bring you on top of that mountain or that hill. Again, as long as the roof in that, the ceiling in that cave is low enough. Pretty useful stuff. All right, so Sheikah Towers are back, kind of, sort of. They're now called Skyview Towers, and they act as fast travel spots. Very, very easy to utilize and a lot of fun. And they also launch you way up high in the air, so you can actually go into the sky area and kind of just, glide around. So again, very useful to not just fast travel, but to also kind of glide in the general kind of area as well. Very fun. Shrines are back, but now they're called Zonai Shrines. What I'm hearing at the time of recording this is that there's apparently 151. I don't have exact confirmation at the time of recording this, but that's what the idea is. Approximately 151 is the word. Very fun stuff. Now, what Zonai Shrines are, again, very similar to Sheikah Shrines, but you're going to be utilizing a lot of the different abilities that you now have with the Zonai abilities and things like that. Some of the puzzles are a little bit trickier. You're going to have to think a little bit harder. But again, if you know what the shrines were in Breath of the Wild, think of something similar to that, but expanded, different puzzles, more in depth. Again, just a lot of fun. Speaking of Zonai Shrines, you're going to get these kind of light blessing orbs at the end of each one, and just like in Breath of the Wild, when you collect 4 and go up to a goddess statue, which if you remember where any of the goddess statues were from Breath of the Wild, most likely there's still going to be one there in Tears of the Kingdom. You go up to them with 4 light orbs and you can exchange for either a heart or stamina vessel, which is exactly the exact same as Breath of the Wild. So that's that. Cooking is back from Breath of the Wild. Very similar, obviously a little bit more expanded. Of course, you got your buffs and different things like that, cold resistance, heat resistance, et cetera, that you can get from combining different kinds of, materials, different kinds of, edible food, if you will, edible items. There's also a variety of different armor with various buffs that return, just like in Breath of the Wild, and this can be acquired in so many different ways, side quests, shops. I mean, there's just a lot of different ways to get these pieces of armor. Breakable weapons are back. Yes, that is the thing. You can break your weapons still. Not much more to say about that. You now have a Zonai battery charge, which is linked to new Zonai devices. There are a variety of Zonai materials, such as Zonite, which is used for many purposes, such as refining it into Zonai charges, which Zonai charges are used as a power source for constructs and Zonai devices, which you can put Zonai charges, by the way, into this thing called a Zonai dispenser, kind of like those, toy dispensers you see at the mall. We put a loonie in, or I guess you don't know what a loonie is if you're not Canadian. We put $1 in, and it, you get a little toy or something. It's kind of like that, and it comes out from across the world, by the way, and it comes out with these Zonai devices. These Zonai devices are basically portable devices you can pull out at any time. They're usable items, such as things like, those fans we talked about a second ago, flame emitters, lights, a variety of different things. So definitely fun to use that and get as many of those as possible for whenever you're in a pinch and you need one of these kind of Zonai devices. Furthermore, regarding a Zonite material, which you again find in the depths in various locations, there's like Zonite ore that you would smash and you can get Zonite from there, various different ways under the depths and the underground chasms. Taking this Zonite material and bringing it to a forge construct, which looks like this, will allow you to trade them in for various different things. So you can trade them in for example, large Zonai charges, which will give you energy boosts basically, so you can use these charges for energy boosts when you need them. There's the large ones and the normal Zonai charges. There's also the large crystallized charges and the normal crystallized charges, which you're going to use to exchange somewhere else to get basically an increase in your battery cell itself. So I'll show you guys where to do that as well. So for the crystallized material, we're going to be bringing it to a crystal refinery, which is marked by a battery on the map. There's one right outside of Lookout Landing. You're going to go up to these constructs, these steward constructs, and what you're going to basically do is you're going to exchange your crystallized material in order to get energy wells. Basically what energy wells are going to do is it's going to increase your battery, how much battery you can have. So 200 of these Zonite crystallized charges are going to produce 2 energy wells, which is going to give you basically 2 more kind of battery slivers, if you will. So that's how you increase your energy cell, meaning you have more room for more energy without having to kind of replenish it or wait for it to recharge. So that's really, really useful. Lots of new materials in Tears of the Kingdom, including this one called Bright Bloom, which is used to create light in dark places by throwing it at something or using an arrow to attach Bright Bloom to it and shooting it off in the further distance. Now, this is getting into a little bit more spoilery exploration stuff. So again, if you're still here, you're still with me. Again, we're getting a little bit more into the depths of things. There's a little pun there. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Underground chasms are in the game called depths, and these are accessed through these red holes that you find in the ground that you'll see on your map as long as you have the map filled in from getting the Skyview Towers, of course. They're going to be these red kind of circular areas, and if you go up to them, again, there's a bunch of red stuff. The red stuff is called gloom, and if you walk in the gloom, it's basically going to break your heart. What that means is that you can't actually fill that heart back up by eating. The only way to reobtain that heart vessel is to walk into the light. So either go up back to the surface, or there's these kind of areas out in the depths below that act kind of like Sheikah Towers. They fill in a little portion of the map, and if you go under those, I believe they're called bright something light or something. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. I forgot to write that part down. Anyways, you'll know what they look like. They basically look like a tree with like a big orangish, yellowish kind of, you know, oval thing in the middle. It's very hard to miss. You go activate those, and they act as fast travel spots in the depths as well, and they light up the area. Very, very useful stuff right there. Okay, so auto build. This is a brand new ability. This is an extra ability, a 5th Zonai ability that you get in the game as sort of a side thing. So the 4 main ones we talked about earlier, you get all those kind of at the beginning of the game. Auto build you have to unlock via this whole kind of side thing. Again, I'll have a guide on my channel. I'm not gonna go too in depth with that, but it is unlockable in the depths. You're gonna find it in the depths. You got to find the Grand Central Mine. That's all I'll basically say for that for now. Now, what auto build does is it allows you to auto build creations if the right Zonai materials are available. So as long as you have, you know, built something previously, or if you get these new things called schema stones, which are found across the world, they basically give you schematics to use with the auto build, so you know how to auto build various, you know, kind of devices and you know, vehicles and things like that. Very useful stuff, again, as long as the materials are available. Moving on from that, caves are new kind of exploration thing, which you'll find randomly. There's kind of like little kind of caverns, if you will, on the side of a mountain or whatever else, you know, random places. They're good for loot, collecting these new items called Bubbul Gem material, which Bubbul Gem can be used at a secret monster shop, kind of similar to Breath of the Wild, how we had a secret monster shop, but you unlock this one by going behind the woodland stable in the southwest of Elden Mountain. Again, I should have a guide up on my video on my channel at some point, either before or after this video, but you use them at that kind of shop, and you'll get a bunch of different kind of resources and you know, masks and armor and variety of different materials and good stuff that you can utilize in the game. All right, moving on from that. Like I said, we have underground chasms, but in these underground chasms, you also have these things called poes, or like these little blue balls that you're going to find sometimes in piles, sometimes there's kind of be like these bigger ones, and you're going to collect these, and you can use these to go to these specific statues, kind of like goddess statues, but they're not goddess statues. You can find one in the Lookout Landing area, kind of like the main hub, the main area of the game, the main kind of, you know, little mini town, I guess, if you will. It's like one of the first places to go in the story. If you go there and you talk to Robbie, who is there, he'll actually do a whole side quest with you and all that good stuff. And you're gonna basically use these posts as a redeemable thing at these, you know, statues, these kind of depths statues, and they'll give you a variety of different things such as gloom resistant clothing, the dark tunic as well, and a variety of other kind of cool materials. Speaking of Robbie, if you go and activate his whole side quest and you do all of it, you're gonna get this a bunch of different upgrades for the Sheikah Slate, which is now called the PREAMP, if I'm pronouncing her name right, I don't know. And these upgrades include the camera, the shrine sensor, so whenever you're near a shrine, it'll kind of beep. The travel medallion, which means anywhere you place one of these kind of spots, they can act as a fast travel spot. So if you're in a tricky place that is hard to get to and you want to get back to it, you just place down a fast travel spot using a travel medallion and you're good to go. Sensor Plus, which basically helps kind of track various things that you have registered in your compendium, which also is back. And Hero's Path mode, which basically shows the last like 256 hours of your travels in the on the map. So if you activate that, you can see exactly where you've been in the map and where you haven't been. So dungeons are back, like I said, but they're kind of half back as they resemble Divine Beast a bit aesthetically and structurally, but they have a little bit more of traditional boss fights. So at least that's nice. It's a little bit closer to traditional, but it's not what you remember of what a traditional dungeon is. It's a lot closer to a Divine Beast than it is to a traditional dungeon, but the bosses are a lot closer to a traditional boss than the Divine Beast bosses. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. And last but not least, at least for now, there's going to be probably more to talk about later, Koroks seeds are back. No idea how many there are at the time of recording this. I don't know if there's 999. I don't know if there's 1200, 1800. I don't know if, you know, there's less, 300. I'm not sure, but they do the same thing. Basically, you go up to Hestu, you give him some of these Koroks seeds, which is basically Korok golden poop, and he'll expand your inventory for whatever you choose, whether it's your armor, your weapons, you know, whatever, your materials, and so on and so forth. So again, not sure how many there are at the time of recording this or what you're going to get as the final reward, but whenever we find out, I'll make a video on that specifically. It's also worth noting that the way that you get these Korok seeds, the puzzles, are very similar to Breath of the Wild, but there's also some new Korok puzzles as well in the game, so keep that in mind. So I think that covers everything. If for some reason I missed anything, please do let us all know in the comments below, but I think that's at least the bulk of what you really need to know kind of getting started in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Like I said, maybe I missed something. There's a lot to this game, a lot of fun to be had, a lot that is returned, a lot that is returning that is expanded, a lot that is new, variety of different stuff like that. So it's just a lot of good fun. If you enjoyed Breath of the Wild, I'm sure you'll enjoy this game too. And it's just an absolute blast and a pleasure. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this one, leave it a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys soon in another one. Till then, my friends, game on, and thanks for watching. So here's a nice little bonus for those of you guys who actually stuck around to the end of the video. Kukos, or how you pronounce them. If you smack them, they'll come attack you in swarms. Yes, that has returned as in every other Zelda game. Okay, now we're done for real. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys later.